Good morning, friends. In the last few lectures, we studied shear force and bending moment diagrams, and that's why today I am starting unit 4th, and that is bending stresses in simple beams. So, this is unit 4th, bending stresses in simple beams. So as you know, the beams may be simply supported or cantilever. So because of the loads, so this may be bent likewise. So due to the load, such type of the bending may be occurs, and because of the such type of the bending occurs, the stresses induced in these beams. That stresses means the internal resistance offered by the these external loads. That is that stresses are called as bending stresses. So please note down definitions. The bending moment at a section tends to bend or deflect the beam, and the internal stresses resist its bending. The process of bending stops when every cross section set up full resistance to the bending moment. So that's why the resistance offered by the internal stresses to bend to the bending is called bending stresses. It's called bending stresses. And the relevant theory and the relevant theory is called theory of pure bending. So because the stresses induced that are shearing stresses and bending stresses, the intensity of the bending stresses is more as compared to intensity of the shearing stress, and this such type of the theories where we are assuming the internal resistance offered by the material, that is the bending stress, that theories are called as pure bending. So in the bending stresses, some of the assumptions are considered. These assumptions are very important because during the examinations assumptions may be asked. for 3-4 marks, or you should know. So what are the assumptions in the theory? So here 5-6 assumptions. I will explain one by one. Assumptions in the theory of simple bending. So first assumptions, the material of the beam is perfectly homogeneous that is same kind of throughout and isotropic means what may be its property that remains constant, that is of equal elastic properties in all directions. So what is the assumptions here? First assumptions, this perfect means the material of the homogeneous is perfect. So means the density of the materials that is not changed in any section, means the density we have to assume this is the same density throughout, or this is perfectly homogeneous and there is no any changes. And isotropic means the elastic properties of the in all directions that should be same. The beam material is stressed within its elastic limits and that obeys Hooke's law. So what is the meaning of this? The beam material is stressed within its elastic limit, and that obeys Hooke's law. So means there is no any permanent deformation, there is no any plastic state. So material will be stressed within its elastic limit. So the material will not cross the elastic limit. And if the material cross the elastic limit, what happens? Material goes in the plastic state. And if the material goes in the plastic state, the permanent deformations occur, and that material will not regain its original shape and size. And if in the elastic state means material can regain its original shape and size after removal of the loads. So that's why the means here we have to assume the beam material is stressed within its elastic limits, and that obeys the Hooke's law. So third point is the plane, the normal plane or the any planes, so that is stressed, that remains plane after the bending also. The transverse section which were plane before bending remains plane after bending also. So what is these assumptions? Suppose this is a beam and this is a transverse section. Suppose this is A, B and this is C and D. So during the bendings, so this may be curved likewise. This may be bent, but this plane remains, means this AB, so this remains straight plane. So this will not cross likewise or likewise. So this is remains plane after bending also. This is the meaning of this third assumptions. The transverse section, this is the transverse section which were plane before bending. So this is before bending and this is after bending. So this remains plane after bending also, means this is in the same plane. Each layer, fourth assumptions, each layer of the beam is free to expand or contract independently of the layer above or below. So meaning of this, so this layers, so this is means each layer, so first step of the layers, separate layers, so this is infinite layers, so this is independently free to expand and free to contract. So that's why the length above the, because here contractions in the, and here is below this is tensile, because this axis is the neutral axis that we will study. So this more contractions at the above, and here this is the more expansion. This is contractions and this is expansion, and this there is no any expansions or contractions. So that's why this is assumes each layer above the beam is free to expand or contract independently of the layer above or below it. It means yes, expected is the neutral axis. So what is the meaning of the neutral axis, that we will see. So fifth assumptions, actually this is covers in this second assumptions, but note down the value of Young's modulus of elasticity is the same in tension or compression, because above the neutral axis compression and below the tension. So that's why this modulus of elasticity or Young's modulus remains same. And the last assumptions, the beam is equilibrium that is there is no resultant pull or push in the beam section. Beam section. So these are the 6 assumptions that is to be considered during the theory of the bending stresses. Now next is the theory of the simple bending. Theory of simple bending. So in the theory of the simple bending, consider this is a beam and small sections dx, and these sections A, B, C, D, and this section, suppose this is R, S, at the center R, yes. So this is AB is the transverse plane across these sections, and this, suppose this length of the sections, this is equal to dx, the small sections length equal to dx, this length equal to dx. Now, so after the bending, so here's this is plane remains same, and so due to this is slightly bending, so this is curvature. Now this is A dash, B dash, this is C dash, and this is D dash, and this is R, S, or R dash, S dash. Now contractions of layer AC, A dot, C dot, as compared to this is the contractions, means length decrease, length decrease. So this is the top layer, and this is bottom layer B dash, D dash, increase or expansion of layer this B dash D, length increase. So why this length increase? Because of the these areas here tensile stress is induced, tensile bending stresses, and above the R dash, C dash, compressive stress is induced. So because of that compressive stresses, length decrease, and because of the this tensile bending stresses, length will increase. And this R dash, S dash, there is no any change above the length, means whatever may be the length, that remains same before bendings and after bendings, means this is R S equal to R dash, S dash, and this is the neutral axis. This line are called as neutral axis. There is no change above the length during the loadings, so that axis are called as neutral axis. There is no any change, means the length will not increase and length will not decrease after bendings, so that axis are called as neutral axis. Now the intensity of the bending stress, so this is maximum at the top layer and minimum at the bottom layers. So this is neutral and this is indicate intensity of the bending stress. So this is maximum at the, means that depends on the distance from RS dash from the neutral axis. So what is the intensity of the bending stress? That depends on the distance of the from neutral axis, and that is nothing but the distance y. So this is theory of the simple bending. So this theory of the bendings, which is about neutral axis, that is called theory of the simple bending. Now we will see bending stresses. Suppose this is a beam, consider this is a beam having small length, this is A, B, C, D, and this is R, S. Now consider this element, small element, this is P, Q, and this length equal to dx. Now after bending, so this is likewise bent, and this is the curvature. Now suppose this radius of the curvatures, so this is A dash, B dash, C dash, D dash. This is R dash, S dash. Now this is P dash, Q dash, and this is equal to Y, and this distance equal to, suppose this is radius of curvatures, equal to R. This is R. Now arc length of the PQ dash, arc length of PQ dash equal to, you can calculate, means this is, because this total, this is center and this is R, so this is PQ dash means this R minus Y into, and suppose this angles, this is theta, angle suspended, this is theta, and the length of RS equal to, suppose dx, arc length of r dash s dash, this is also equal to same, because this is the neutral axis. Since this is neutral axis, means there is no any change. So that's why dx equal to, you can write r into theta. Now contractions, because of the contractions, because of contraction of layer PQ dash, decrease in length equal to minus r y into theta minus r theta. So this is so this is equal to, this is to be considered plus dx. So that's why r theta minus plus y theta and plus this is r theta. So this will get cancelled, y theta. So this is change in length. Now strain equal to strain of fiber equal to change in length, divided by original length. Now change in length equal to y theta, original length equal to this is dx means r theta. So this theta will get cancelled and strain equal to y divided by r. Y divided by r, and stress as stress divided by strain equal to E. So that's why stress equal to, because this is bending stress, and the strain equal to E, or we can write strain equal to sigma B divided by E. So this is strain equal to, this is first equation and this is second equation. So by using equation first and second, you can write now sigma B divided by E equal to y divided by r's, or sigma B ER divided by y, because E is the Young's modulus or modulus of elasticity, R is the radius of curvatures. So this is remains constant, and this y is the intensity of the stress. So this is important relation. So please note this, sigma B equal to E divided by R divided by Y. Now first we will complete this relationship. Because this in the bending stress, bending moment equations, in the torsions, torque equation or twisting moment equation is the important torque, and here bending equations or moment equation is important. So that's why you study, first we'll study this example. Consider this is a small element and this is neutral axis. First I will draw, it's a figure, so after that we can explain. And this is small elemental area. Suppose this is PQ and this distance equal to Y. So this is neutral axis. Consider a small section of the beam as shown in figure. Now consider a small layer PQ of the beam sections having distance at a distance of Y from the neutral axis as shown in figure. So this is about neutral axis, because this axis is the neutral axis. Let dq be area of layer PQ. We know that intensity of layer PQ equal to sigma B equal to E multiplied by R, and this is Y. So this is the intensity of the layer. Now because of the thrust on the element area, thrust on elemental area means the shear force perpendicular to the normal to the axis equal to ER multiplied by Y into this area equal to dA. This is dA. dA, or we can consider this is dA. And the moment of the moment of thrust load about the neutral axis, equal to E divided by R multiplied by Y into dA. This is force or this is thrust multiplied by what? Multiplied by area, because moment is nothing but force multiplied by force multiplied by distance, that becomes bending moment. So that's why here multiplied by Y. So this relations becomes ER into Y square into delta A. Now total moment of thrust load about neutral axis equal to, so this is total summations of the Y squares. So that's why E summations of Y squares and into dA, and this is nothing but this is ER divided by, because since summations of Y squares is moment of inertia, this is moment of inertia, so that's why you can write total moment equal to means M equal to ER multiplied by I, or M divided by I equal to ER. And previously this is, briefly you can write sigma B divided by Y equal to ER. So this is first equation and this is second equation. Now by using equation first, and second, so you will get very important relations. M divided by, this is maximum bending moment, sigma B divided by Y equal to E divided by R's, and these equations are called as bending equation. So being as a mechanical engineer, you should know in the strength of material and in the machine designs, two equations are very important. One is the bending equations and another is the torque equation. So torque equation we will study in the torsions, but this is the bending equations. So sigma B equal to here's sigma B equal to, so by using these two terms, sigma B divided by Y equal to M divided by I, or sigma B equal to M multiplied by Y divided by R, or sigma B equal to M divided by I divided by Y. So this I divided by Y are called as section modulus. This is section modulus, and notations here Z. Section modulus equal to Z, and this ratio moment of inertia divided by 1 is called as section modulus. So for the different section, a different section of modulus, so that we can study. Section modulus for different cross section. Suppose rectangular cross section, rectangular cross section. So for rectangular cross section, this is solid B and D. So moment of inertia equal to, as you know, I equal to BD cube divided by 12 and Y equal to, because this is neutral axis and this is extreme distance from neutral axis Y. So Y max equal to, this is Y equal to D by 2. This distance equal to D by 2. So that's why section modulus equal to, for rectangular, BD cube divided by 12 divided by D by 2. So 1 D will get cancelled and you will get BD squares divided by 6. This is for rectangular. For hollow rectangular cross sections equal to, now suppose this is capital B, small d, and this is capital D, and this is neutral axis. So in this case, this capital D, section modulus equal to solid rectangular sections means capital BD cube divided by 12 minus small BD cube divided by 12 divided by, now because this is total height equal to depth equal to D, so that's why D by 2, or section modulus equal to capital BD cube small BD cube divided by 6D. This is for hollow rectangular section. Third, for solid, or this is for circular section. Suppose this is, and D is the diameter. So moment of inertia equal to pi by 64 D raised to 4. And this is capital D, and Y equal to, so anywhere Y max equal to D by 2. So that's why Z equal to I divided by Y max equal to pi by 32, because 1 d will get cancelled. This is d cube. So this is in cube. Now for hollow circular section, because by observing these cross sections, you can understand what is mean of the section modulus. This is d, I equal to pi by 64 and y equal to capital D by 2. So that's why section modulus equal to I max, this is pi by 32 d raised to 4 small d raised to 4 divided by capital D. So these are the section modulus for different cross sections. So please try to understand, because these are the important terms. These terms are important during the solving of the problems related with the bending stress. So try to understand these section modulus and that equations. These equations, important equations. M divided by I, this is maximum bending moment, I is the moment of inertia, E divided by R is equal to sigma B divided by Y. These equations is very important. So whole chapters, this bending stress depends on this equation and these section modulus. So these are the important formulas related with the bending stress. So remaining portions means problems related with the bending stress we can solve in the next class. So that's why today I stop here, and in the next class we will see problems related with the bending stress. So that's why I am stopping us. Thank you.